Well, hello, Piper. Coming at you from my a little can't call it my man cave. This is our bedroom, but I like to come back here and sit and read a book and relax. And this is the last time I'll get to do that in this chair. We're moving it out today and putting in the little love seat we brought back. So I don't know if it's gonna work or not. It looks to me like it's gonna be. Well, I'll let her worry about that. So I'll just sit in it and enjoy. I am smoking some Mississippi River today. It's cold and dreary outside, and it's just a day for Mississippi River. It just something like that hits a spot like a good bowl of hot vegetable beef soup or something, you know. So let's get her fired up. Came in a little early, had a little meeting in town in Monroe. Had to go to the Boy Scouts. Putting some final touches on our deal, and so I left work about went up and kind of helped them got going, and then had to leave about 11. So by the time we were getting open, but we got the prep work done, and I'm watching a little listening to some 801 channel 801 on Direct TV. Listening to some right now, some Count Basie. But I don't know how bad it'll garble if I turn it up. Maybe not too bad. Oh. And I'm smoking the Mississippi River in the little His pipe that I bought at Bayou Tobacco in Baton Rouge. Showed it to y'all the other day. Just about got the little joker broke in, beginning to get a little carbon buildup on it. But this I wished I'd have bought the other one down there. He had two or three, but he had the black one of this one too, and I wish I'd have bought the black one now. It is truly a good smoker. HIS, H period, I period, S period. And you find them, they're basically a basket pipe. He had $50 on this one. I think he took 40 and then threw in, me offered to take 40 and then threw in 2 ounces of Pontchartrain blend tobacco. But he, you'll find these in a lot of brick and mortars I read on the internet. If you run across one, don't be afraid of it. It's they're good smokers. They sure are. But I'm fixing to go grab me some lunch here. Like I say, I'm at home. I'm fixing to go around the corner. There's a little Shell convenience store. And on the end of it, it's got a diner built in it. They make a pretty good burger. I think I'm going to go up and have a burger and then go pick Emily up. And then we've got to run out to Sam's when my wife gets home about 3:30 and pick up some stuff. And Emily wants to go to Build-A-Bear. Been promising we'd go, and I about put it off as long as I can. As long as I can listen to her reminding me that I promised her we would go. But so we'll grab something to eat. Got a dinner date with friends Friday night. We're going to go to Willie's Duck Diner here. You know, he's involved with another local guy here on a restaurant called Willie's Duck Diner. And they've got some of Miss Kay's recipes. They've got all kind of different. The only time I've been, I had the Cajun sampler or something. It had red beans and rice, gumbo, and jambalaya. It was decent. The red beans and rice I didn't care for, and I'm not bragging, but I like mine, and I'm certainly not bragging, but I put ham in mine. There's a restaurant called something Anderson, Mike Anderson. I basically use his recipe. Mine has sausage and ham in it, and it's a combination of his and my son's. But now the jambalaya was really good, but they're bad overpriced. They're counting on tourists coming off that interstate. The locals are not going to go in there and pay $12.95 for a meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and green beans. They're just not going to do it. Or $13 and some change for a hamburger steak with a couple of sides. Just ain't going to do it, you know. $8, $9 for a hamburger. Another $3 for the fries. And time you get drink on it, I mean, you know, locals are not going to go back many times. And of course, I tried Miss Kay's banana pudding, and it was good, but it was $6 for a little bowl of it, and it was so rich. I wound up, me and Emily split it, and it was so rich. It was good, but about half of it's all you could spend. Anyhow, but that's where they want to go, and they've never been. So I'll go probably enjoy a $13, $12.95 plate of meatloaf. No, I just been, like I say, been sitting around the last couple of days watching some videos, catching up on everybody's videos. He's not new. He's been around a pretty good little while, couple of weeks, and I think he's up to 51 or 50 some odd subs. Calls himself The Wild Inside. He's from California. Had a good video up yesterday. Took us out to the lake, Clear Lake, there where he lives, and he's a taxidermist. His name is Dean. Y'all check him out. He's going to be a big asset to the community, and we need to continue to support these newcomers because, you know, that's what keeps us going and keeps this community rolling. The greatest community on YouTube. But I've been watching some music videos on YouTube. I get up, you know, I've been on a Jerry Lee Lewis kick. And he's got some great videos, especially if you type in like Jerry Lee Lewis 1969. I love that era, especially that. To me, it was probably his best year. It was 69. He had managed to come back from exile. You know, they had exiled him for marrying the young girl. Spent 10 years, couldn't even get his songs played on the radio, and he came back in the country, kind of through the back door with a country record, and of course it went to #1. My dad was in the jukebox business in the late 57 through about 60. He did some of it when he worked for Stuckey's. Probably 68 is when he sold out. And he was telling me one day, we were talking, he said, you know, it's odd. He said, and of course he was raised in Crossett, Arkansas, which is right on the Louisiana-Arkansas line there. He said, you know, in South Arkansas, he said, they wouldn't play Jerry Lee's music on the radio, and, you know, talking about 60, 61. Said the DJs just would not play it. But he said, man, he said, in them joints, them juke joints where them jukeboxes were, he said, brother, he said, I would buy a record, a Jerry Lee record, and usually replace it 3 times. He said they would absolutely wear it out, you know. And he said, didn't affect the jukebox deals. And of course, his, you know, he scratched out a living just doing performances at nightclubs and things until he came back. As y'all know, it's a hobby of mine. I do a lot of historical research on musicians, and most of them are deceased that I have done research on. Of course, when I was a kid, I started this way back, and of course, with the advent of the internet, with the advent of the internet, Lord, if I'd have had internet when I was a kid, but just had to rely on library books and talking to people. The first one I ever did a research on, I was about 11 or 12 years old. I became real interested. Didn't really like his music, but real interested in Hank Williams. And I guess one of the things that caught my eye or caught my attention, for 11 or 12-year-olds old, was that here's a guy that died in the backseat of a Cadillac on the way to a performance. And that would get anybody's attention at that age, and it certainly got mine. And I became an avid reader. I've read just probably every book that's ever been written, talked to many people in his life and interviewed people, so to speak, and managed to meet some folks that were close to him. And, old Hank wasn't but 29 years old when he died, and looked 50. And there's nothing wrong with 50. I'm pushing it real quick. I'll be 49 in April, but for 29 years old, and he was just a lot older than he was. And well, I guess he was country music's first superstar. But I've done a lot of research on his death, as have others, and what is basic public is that he died en route to a show in Canton, Ohio. Died somewhere in West Virginia, they think. The driver of the car was an 18-year-old boy. His dad had a cab company there in Montgomery. Hank had been in to visit his mother. Tried to fly out. Weather was bad, a lot of snow and whatnot. So Hank hired this boy to drive him, and this boy changed his story a lot through the years. He never could keep his story straight, but about the last few hours of Hank's life. But they did make a stop in Knoxville and checked into the Andrew Jackson Hotel. Hank walked up. I don't know if he walked up. He may have been helped upstairs, but anyway, a doctor came, a house doctor, hotel house doctor, came and gave him a shot of morphine. And a couple hours later, the booking promoter told the young boy, said, "You got to get back on the road. You got to keep moving." Because Hank had a bad habit of not showing up, getting drunk and not showing up. So this was a very important concert to him in order to get back on the Grand Ole Opry. It was part of the deal to clean his act up and make several shows. But anyway, some black porters, and I've heard them talk about this, and they physically carried him down to the car. They said he made a coughing and gurgling sound. Never was conscious. 3 hours later, I'm saying 4 hours later, the only part of the boy's story that was consistent was that he reached behind him in the back seat to pull Hank's overcoat back over him. Hank was supposedly sleeping in the back seat of the car. And when he did, Hank's arm was across his chest, and he said he noticed resistance in it. Well, the resistance, in my experience with the funeral home industry in the late 80s and early 90s, the resistance he was feeling was rigor mortis, which tells me it wasn't full rigor, but it was the time frame would have put him dying in that hotel, more than likely in Knoxville rather than the back seat of the Cadillac, which also would have put it on December 31st, not January 1st, 1953, would have put it the last day of December, 1952. But very interesting. I've talked to y'all about Jim Croce and different ones, and old Hank's interesting life. It sure was. And if you get a chance to read anything on him, may not like his music, but he's an interesting read. Interesting man. Well, I'm going to finish this up and go grab a burger and pick Miss Emily up and get some rat killing done. Y'all have a good one, and we'll catch you either later tonight or tomorrow. Y'all take care and God bless.